Many political analysts here in Israel believe that 2012 will be the critical year in Iran's covert nuclear weapons program. That's not because anyone doubts whether Iran has the material and know-how to go nuclear. The West is convinced Iran can build a nuclear bomb once it decides to. The growing concern now is that Iran is moving its uranium stockpiles and its secret facilities further and further underground. That would make a military strike by Israel or the West more difficult with each passing day. It's what Israeli defense officials refer to as the window of opportunity that they believe is closing, and perhaps in 1 year's time, they say, there will be no way to stop Iran from going nuclear. Now, that has raised concerns in Washington and Europe that Israel is planning an attack on Iran perhaps as soon as the spring. I sat down to talk about all of this with Dr. Ephraim Asculai. He's a former official at the International Atomic Energy Agency and a senior researcher at the Institute for National Security Studies. Take a listen to what he had to say.
2012 is a critical year because I think that in some way Iran's intentions will be manifest. It will also be shown whether the sanctions are working or not. And a decision will have to be made to either go differently or perhaps to reach an agreement with Iran that will stop the whole thing. Unfortunately, I think that nothing will work at the present regime in Iran.
There's been a lot of talk in the press about Israel's preparation or contemplation of an attack, a preemptive strike on Iran. Do you think this would be a good idea?
I'm not sure. It really depends on a few factors. But first of all, I think that talking about it is a good idea because I think that Iranians must feel the pressure of this possibility. Whether militarily speaking it's a good idea, I don't know, because it's a huge project in Iran, and I'm not sure that Israel alone can accomplish the aim of stopping Iran's nuclear weapons development project.
Defense Minister Ehud Barak talks about an immunity zone, maybe another 9 months to 12 months, where the window would still be open to delay the program. Do you believe that's an accurate assessment, or do we have more time than a year?
I think that the problem here is probably technical. It's less political than technical, because in a short time, probably the underground, the hillside, enrichment facility at Fordo near Qom will probably be ready, and that will be a bad thing. So probably he could be thinking of this area as a comfort zone. After Qom is finished and starts enriching uranium, probably it would be very difficult to stop it. So that's one factor. The other factor is that they are accumulating the whole time, no matter what delays occurred in the past, they are still accumulating low-enriched uranium, which they can enrich rather quickly to nuclear weapons enrichment levels. So if they do that, that will be quite a bad thing for any future activity, I would say, on all sides.
Do you think the Americans would back an Israeli attack, or do you believe that some of the rhetoric we're hearing now from the Obama administration is merely to put pressure on Tehran?
First of all, the pressure is needed, so that's a good thing by itself. I am not sure that for Israel to attack Iran on its own is the best idea. It would be much preferable if the U.S. were a partner in such an effort, because the U.S. has much bigger forces and can really deal a mortal or near mortal blow to the Iranian nuclear project.
Do you think the Israelis may be underestimating the American President Barack Obama, who went forward with a very risky mission to kill Osama bin Laden? Do you think maybe after the elections he would join or back some kind of Israeli strike on Iran?
I don't know. I'm not that well. I think it was a very courageous thing to go after Osama bin Laden. I would hope that he would take a very strong position besides rhetoric. I think he could do some material things without attacking Iran for a stronger action to force Iran. The sanctions are still not strong enough.
Do you believe that a nuclear Iran is really an existential threat to the state of Israel, or do you believe that Israel can somehow live with a nuclear Iran?
The word existential threat is a very bad one. Is it a credible threat? Is it a very strong threat? Yes. If I were only a scientist sitting and thinking, well, Iran doesn't have any reason to attack Israel, where we don't have a common border. Even though its ally, Syria, is next to us, I don't think anything would happen on that. But this is a cold reasoning. If I were prime minister, I wouldn't be permitted to have this reasoning. I would have to say, yes, this is a threat that I have to deal with. And even if there is a small chance for that threat to become true, I cannot take the chance. This is not a gambling game. This is the life of the country. And yes, I would have to deal with it.
Dr. Ephraim Asculai, a senior researcher at the Institute for National Security Studies, thank you so much for joining us on JN1 today.
Thank you.